Hello everybody, it's me again, Jason, and today I want to go over essential tools you need for rocketry, either model or amateur, and I'll show you the toolkit that I take with me when I go to launch dates as well. Starting off, one of the most important things you'll need is a kitchen scale. Because when you're building rockets, no matter if you're building a model rocket or an amateur rocket, you need to weigh the rocket to see how much weight that rocket is. Because it'll determine in some cases, not always, but in some cases, the amount of fuel that you need to put in or the type of fuel rod. Especially when you're building small amateur rockets and you're sending up scientific gear like I do, you need to make sure that you have your weights under control. Spare parts. This is very essential, and spare parts can range from nose cones, which is not pictured here, but I do have a bin of nose cones and other assorted. But you need extra launch tubes, you need extra motor mounts, O-rings, everything like that in case you have to repair, or if you're rebuilding a rocket and taking the best from 2 or 3 and making a single. It's always great to have a lot of spare parts, and keeping cardboard tubes from aluminum foil containers is the best way to have spare body tubes, but you got to have spare parts. Igniters. Now I showed you the other day that you can either buy igniters or you can make your own. I've made my own and I keep a full bag of them, a mini bag, in this Ziploc that goes in my toolbox that comes with me. Spare batteries are essential, especially for your launch controllers. As I've showed you previously, I have homemade launch controllers, mainly that run off of 9 volts, so I always carry spare 9 volts, and spare AA batteries for the electron beam launch controller, because it does take 4 AA's. Spare parachutes. I would not go on a launch party day without a spare parachute, at least 2 of them, in your toolbox. It's not guaranteed that every rocket's going to come back without a problem. You might see a couple flashes up in the sky. You might lose parachutes. It's good to have 1 or 2 spares of various sizes. Scissors and a small caliper. Scissors for cutting just about anything that your rockets are made of, especially if you have to cut shock cord or parachute cord or trim a parachute. Calipers for measuring the diameters on rocket tubes, launch mounts, everything, even your spare parts. You can use your caliper to measure that. In my actual rocket toolbox, and this comes with me on every launch day, I haven't replenished it, but I do have spare O-rings and parts that usually populate this side. I have launch plugs that hold the igniters in several different sizes. I still have to get more. I have a tray of igniters, both store-bought and ones that I've made myself. Upon opening this box to the first tray, and these are important tools, I have a pair of flat nose pliers, useful for a lot of applications. I have needle nose pliers. These are essential for any model or amateur rocket hobbyist. You need a needle nose set of pliers in your toolbox. They will get you out of jams. More spare parts. A very sharp X-Acto knife or cut-off blade, it comes in handy. Electrical tape, you'll need that. And I also have spare fuel rods. I usually keep unopened packages in the bottom of my toolbox. I don't have a lot of fuel right now because I haven't been launching. I have 4 extra engines sitting in the top tray, C65s and a C1110. Now in the final part of my toolbox, I have a lot of different things here. I've got my spare launch controller. This electron beam one, the ones that take those AA batteries, I keep this as a spare launch controller in case one of my homemade ones has an issue. I usually bring all 3 with me. This one stays here and my other 2 go in my backpack. I have not 1 but 2 packages worth of recovery wadding in here. Very useful, especially when you're doing a lot of launches. You're going to use 4 sheets per rocket, and I have a spare bag that I bought at the local hobby shop. I have a bottle of Weld Bond. Now, when you take glue with you to a launch day, Weld Bond takes 24 hours to set permanently. So I will do a quick repair on the spot, but that rocket will be out of service, and I'll let the heat from the sun dry the glue a little bit if I really need to. Try not to use contact cement when you're out on the field, because if you get get it stuck to you, you got problems. And finally, I have another pair of pliers in here somewhere. I have my cut-off diagonal pliers in case you have to cut through anything nasty, or if you need to snip wires on launch boxes that aren't working, you can do that. I don't use them often, but it's like a backup tool more than anything else. Not pictured, which I do carry sometimes in my model rocket box, are electrical connectors, which would be things like these, just in case there's any connection problems on my launch controllers. I usually keep a bunch of terminals and a couple of electrical tools in case I have to do a quick fix out in the field. Very rarely though, so I don't usually take this stuff with me. If I do have a launch box failure, it comes home and I deal with it at home. But that's just some of what you need for rocketry. I also have a wide range of my normal tools here at my desk, and this is where I do most of the repair work and building.